The top of the show with the man, the myth, the icon, NFL insider, Hall of Famer, the great Sal Paolantonio. What's up, Sal Pal? How are you?
Oh, man, I thought you forgot about me, my brother. What's happening? I haven't been on your show since the Super Bowl. I got paid, put on that paid no never mind list. You know, Joe Pesci and Goodfellas, how'd they get on that list? What's happened?
Oh,
by the way, I have gone to Lightning games. The first Lightning game that I went to, I was blown away. I really was. Because I grew up on Long Island with the Nassau Coliseum, Islanders, and then, of course, I went to Ranger games at Madison Square Garden. I'm telling you, Tampa is a hockey town big time when the Lightning are playing. It's amazing.
Yeah, with the exception of that knucklehead they put up on the Jumbotron, it's an incredible show each and every night. Playoff hockey, there's nothing like it. There's absolutely not, as you know. The Islanders, that Nassau Coliseum. I mean, come on, that was it. That was it back in the day.
That was it back in the day. The Islanders in the 70s and 80s, they were so huge. My first job was selling Pepsi at the Nassau Coliseum. That's my first job. That was my first job. I think I was 16, boss. I might have been 15. I might have lied on my working papers.
I bet you did.
I think I lied to make an extra bit of coin. I needed those Converse low tops. You know what I'm saying?
$13 a pair. Remember those Chuck Taylors?
I don't know where you were getting them. I was getting them hot on 34th Street for $8.
See, I was getting them at Sears. At the Hollywood Mall, and I'd save up my pennies from mowing lawns. Oh yeah, JP's Lawn Service, absolutely. And then when I'd get my $13. I think it was 18 cents, and I'd run down and I'd get because I'd wear them out. Every a month and a half, 2 months. My Chuck E. T's were worn out, so I had to get new ones.
Here's the beautiful thing, my brother. We're still working. We're still working. You know, and that's it. I had 3 jobs when I was 12 years old, and we're still working.
Isn't that crazy, man? It's a different. My 12-year-old stepson can't make his own lunch, and we were. my dad was delivering the L.A. Times. He was a manager. Delivering it when he was 10 years old. He'd wake up at 4:00 in the morning to go deliver the LA Times in Pasadena at 10 years old. Oh my God. Life has changed, my friend. Life has changed. How are you?
How's life down in my home away from home, Tampa Bay?
It's never been more beautiful. We've had about 30 days of consistent sunshine and 65 to 75 degrees. Feels like California. It's been fantastic, but we miss you. I know you've been hanging out with Joe Piscopo, and you're now in every Italian Hall of Fame there is in the entire 50 states. So you've been busy. So I didn't want to bother you, but it's draft time now. It's time to get back to work.
It absolutely is, and this is my 30th draft with ESPN, and we just finished taping the NFL matchup show with the great Greg Cosell and the incomparable Darius Butler, and that is streaming on ESPN Plus, our special draft show for the NFL matchup team. And, we start out looking at the quarterbacks, and, it's really interesting. It's such a copycat league, as you know, JP. And you look at how the Eagles won the Super Bowl. They did it with a second quarterback drafted in the second round.
Yep.
And a defensive line that got after the quarterback without blitzing. I'm telling you, that's the formula right now is you got to get yourself enough pass rushers who can win one-on-one matchups and beat the double team if necessary. And that's what the Eagles did against Patrick Mahomes II and then Andy Reid and Kansas City Chiefs offense. So that's what teams are going to try to do this year is find value, because you look at this draft, right, JP?
Mm-hmm.
I have a blue chip grade on just 5 guys. 5. That's it. Normally you go 12 or 15 deep. I got it on 5 guys. I got it on and let's see. Travis Hunter defense, Abdul Carter defense, Mason Graham out of Michigan defense. The running back, Ashton Genty of Boise State, I got him as a blue chip top 5 grade. And then Malachi Starks, I have from Georgia at safety. This is a Todd Bowles draft if there ever was one. This is a draft made for Toddy.
Yeah, and he knows those Georgia players because his son was playing there. We love the Georgia players. Got Tyke Smith last year, and I think there's some Georgia players, Malachi Starks being one of them, on the radar. Jalen Walker obviously probably be gone. Michael Williams may be there for him. I like him as an edge rusher for the Bucks. Sal, I see edge, first three, and then corner, and then inside linebacker. I think that's where they're looking. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I totally agree. I mean, the corner situation is interesting because McCollum really developed into a pretty good corner option for the Bucks, and I think he'll take care of one of the starting jobs in 2025. You know, for Jamal, he's played well, but his health has been a major problem for the past couple of years. So I could see Bowlesy adding a corner that gives them some insurance and an option to develop alongside Dean and McCollum. So I think that to me is the way that he'll probably go, is edge and corner for sure.
I agree. And when you look at these edge rushers, and like you said, copycat league, you got to get a pass rush. And Bowles has said, you know, he's tried to manufacture pass rushes the last few years. He can't get any pressure with four. And in the end, that's what undid this team against Washington, is they held on to the ball for the final 4.5 minutes. You can't, they got no pressure with four at any point this year. And it's just a constant, he's dropping pass rushers into coverage, trying to manufacture. And it hurt the Bucks big time. The 29th in pass defense. They got to get a pass rush. Which one of these edge guys do you really like that might be there, you think?
Well, I think you're right. And I think edge is the way to go. I think Mike Green could be available at 19. Yeah. Mike Green's the edge rusher out of Marshall.
Yeah.
Yep. Nick Scouridon could be there, although he might go a little earlier than Mike Green for sure. Those two guys in the middle of the first round. And talk about a Georgia guy, Mikel Williams out of Georgia is a good edge rusher.
Yep.
But I don't see him getting past your old friend Raheem Morris with the Falcons at 15. I just don't see that happening. But in this draft, JP, from talking to scouts and general managers and coaches and guys who do this for a living full time all year round, there's probably 20. They're looking at 20 to 22 edge rushers and defensive tackles that have a first or second round grade in this draft. This is a very deep D-line draft. And you mentioned the one guy that I love, and that's Jalen Walker out of Georgia. I think he is, you know, those Georgia D tackles. We got two of them here in Philadelphia, Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter. And you look at him, he's thick. He's fast. He's got great length. He's got speed to power. I mean, if you can get him, if he's sitting there at 19,
you grab.
I don't think Bowles lets him get past 19. I think he grabs him, don't you?
Absolutely. And you know, I think when the Bucs have won Super Bowls, they had JPP, right? And they had a cat by the name of Simeon Rice, who's going to be announcing their picks on day 2. So go say hello to Simeon. Tell him JP said hello. He's the best. Get an interview with him.
I love Simeon, and, you know, I've always thought that he deserved Hall of Fame conversation.
I agree. Oh, coming from you, that means something. Yeah.
I've always thought that he deserved to be in. But, you know, that Bucs Tampa 2 defense under Monty Kiffin's got so many guys.
Yep.
You got Barber, you know, John Lynch, and of course Sapp and Derek Brooks, and it's tough to sell. By the way, there should be, assistant coaches should be under consideration for busts. Tom Moore,
absolutely,
Monty Kiffin, Bud Carson. Boy, oh boy, I don't see how Buddy Ryan's not in the Hall of Fame. Only put together the defense that stopped Johnny Unitas in Super Bowl III, and then probably the greatest defense in Super Bowl history in 1985. So I think these assistant coaches get shortchanged.
Well, you're the man to get that done. Sal Pal. So let's get on that, especially with, Monty is beloved here. And I believe absolutely, when you come up with a defense like the Tampa 2 that stands the test of time, they're still running it. And I'll put that, I love that Bears defense, no question, but I'll put that Bucs defense with 4 Hall of Famers and Tony Dungy, who kind of developed it with Monty as a 5th Hall of Famer. I'll put that defense up against just about any defense in the history of the game. So, all great ideas. All right. So getting back to this defense, again, 29th in pass defense, corner, edge rusher, and inside linebacker. I think every mock draft has Jahadi Campbell going to the Buccaneers, and he can, he might be a guy that you could put out on the edge. He's 6'3", he's 235. He's a game wrecker. Now he's got a labrum surgery that's probably going to keep him out of all the off season, but could be back for September. What do you think of that? Do you have him as a blue chipper, Jahad Campbell?
Yeah, I do, but I'm always leery of guys who have injuries in that part of your body if you're going to play in that position. So I in the first round, I think you have to absolutely make sure that you're locked in. And then Jahadi Campbell, second round, if you can get him at 50. What are you talking about? 53? Is that the spot you're looking at?
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably a good value at that spot. Bolsey's desperate for pass rush.
Yep.
You did pick up Hassan Reddick, my guy, and his career went off the rails.
You like him?
In New York.
You think he has a big year?
I love him. I think he's great. I think he's a great teammate. I think he's great. Everything about him. The Jets' reclamation projects are well documented. Look what the Eagles did with Mekhi Becton.
Yeah.
With the right coaching, the right attitude. You just mentioned that 60 days straight or whatever it is, 190 days straight of sunshine. By the way, the Northeast weather has been just horrible. You hurt me on that one, buddy. I mean, I was only down there once.
Waiting for you, baby.
I gotta get down, and I gotta get down there to visit soon for sure. But hopefully the weather will turn here at some point. But you get that weather, you get no income tax. It has a way of in the free state of Florida, it has a way of working things for you.
Yeah, everybody's here. By the way, Cesar says over at Cafe Paradiso. And Paolantonio, they say hello. They're already in the comments here. Say Sal's the best. So your favorite Italian restaurants are waiting for you here as well.
Those guys are fantastic. If I'm coming to Clearwater, which I am, with my wife, which we always are, we celebrate our anniversary in Clearwater. We're going to Caesars on the Beach.
Yes, sir.
For sure.
Yes, sir.
It's a great spot. I recommend it to everybody. I say that's the best Italian food in the state of Florida by far. Not even close.
And his son Paulo runs Cafe Paradiso, which is one of our great local
Paradiso is a great location.
Fantastic.
Great location. We love that place. He's a great guy, and it's a great location. Fantastic.
We're going to have to put that in the next ad right there. I'm going to take that clip. All right, so let's look at the draft as a whole, which you will be covering.
Hey, wait a minute now. You got to put me in the next ad. Now you got to take me to that spot next time I'm in town.
Absolutely. Dinner's on Paulo. Are you kidding me? I mean, on me. Absolutely.
After you run me around on the tennis court, I'm going to need a little pasta. I'm going to need a little sustenance, some carbs to regain my energy for sure.
Yeah,
I'm going to be with the Giants on draft day. I'll be there tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday with the Giants.
Okay.
And I think the number 3 pick in the first round is the sweet spot of this draft.
Yep.
It's the pivot point because the Giants are faced with the number 1 question of this draft: is Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders ready for prime time? I think that's the key question.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's hard to pass up on Sanders because he has some traits that I think really work in the NFL right now, which is toughness and durability and game management, which is important. He doesn't turn the ball over. He has obviously things he's going to have to coach up. But to me, JP, it's tough to pass on Sanders, but I think it's professional malpractice to pass up Abdul Carter. To me, he's the number 1 player in this draft.
So what do they do? What do you think the Giants are going to do? I think you're right about Abdul Carter. So I think they're going quarterback because they always make the wrong decision.
Are we assuming here? Are we assuming here that the Browns are taking Hunter at 2? Is that our assumption with the Giants?
It is our assumption, okay. But I don't. It's hard to assume things in this draft because there isn't really, after Cam Ward, an absolute pick. I have Hunter slightly below Carter in a grade, but you can't go Carter if you just paid all of that money to your homegrown pass rusher in Cleveland.
Right.
So if you're the Giants, you take Carter at 3, then you try to move back into the first round for Jackson Dart, the quarterback out of Ole Miss. If you're telling me that the Giants get Carter and Dart in league 1, that JP, then I'm telling you, John Mara is going to finally get some of that sleep he lost after Saquon jumped to my town, Philly.
I don't think he'll ever sleep again. Actually, after that disaster,
I don't know. The Nittany Lion may help him sleep tonight. What was that called? The Lion sleeps tonight.
That's right.
Might get married to have an extra couple of Z's after passing up on Saquon. But yeah, I know Saquon had a career year that no one has ever seen before.
Unbelievable. So do you think even with Jameis and Russell sitting in that quarterback room that they're going to take Shedeur Sanders?
No, what I'm saying, it's going to be hard to pass up on Sanders.
Yeah.
But it'll be professional malpractice to pass on Abdul Carter.
Right.
But like you said, the Giants seem to have focused on professional malpractice by letting
very good at it.
Leave town.
They're very good at that.
Seems to have been their MO.
Yeah.
I just think Carter, he wears number 11. He's modeled his game on Micah Parsons. And like I said, did you see the Super Bowl? The Eagles beat the Chiefs with superior pass rush.
Yeah.
And I think all around the league, I think GMs, scouts, coaches, Bolsey, your guy Todd, your GM there, he's done such a terrific job putting that team together. They're all looking for pass rushers.
Yes.
Especially pass rushers who can win one-on-one matchups and demand a double team. Fangio did not blitz once in the Super Bowl, and yet they tormented Patrick Mahomes the second.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's because, pass rushers won one-on-one matchups because Jalen Carter was the most double-team player in the Super Bowl since Aaron Donald dominated the Bengals offensive line. By the way, Carter, about to become a very rich man. I think he'll be the highest paid defensive player in NFL history. He had the most double teams of any defensive lineman in the league in 2004. In fact, he broke the record of the most double teams for a D lineman since they've been keeping that stat for about 10 years.
Well,
incredible.
So you said the pivot point for number 3 of the Giants. Do you think the story of this draft is going to be Shedeur Sanders falling down the board? And if it is, how far does he fall? Does he go past the Steelers? Does he go past at 9 the Saints? Would the Saints take Shedeur Sanders? There's a lot of talk about that. How far would he fall?
Well, like I said, so there aren't very many blue chippers.
Mm-hmm.
So then the pivot point is at 3, and Ashton Genty, if he's picked early, that'll be a big story. And then people will start to pile on Shedeur Sanders. How far is he going to fall? A la Aaron Rodgers. And that may be the reason, JP, that Shedeur Sanders is not coming to Green Bay to the draft, because he doesn't want to be stuck in the green room, looking down at his toes while they try to interview him about, whether or not he's, because that won't be a good look for him.
Remember how awkward it was for Will Levis a couple years ago?
Aaron Rodgers.
Really awkward.
Terrible. It's still been awkward for poor Mr. Will Levis for sure. But I think, if the Saints don't take him at 9, Bears don't need him, Niners, Cowboys, could the Dolphins take him at 13? Maybe. Then you go Falcons, Cardinals, Bengals, Seahawks. Could the Seahawks take him at 18? Bucks won't take him. They got my guy Baker.
That's right.
Broncos won't take him. Steelers could at 21, maybe.
Yep.
Rams like Jackson Dart. The teams that I heard like Jackson Dart are the Giants and the Rams. Those are the 2 teams, and maybe the Steelers. Mm-hmm. Those are the 3 teams. So the Giants, if Jackson Dart starts to fall, JP, to the point where he's at, like, let's say the Steelers don't take him at 21, and the Chargers, Packers, Vikings, and Texans are on the clock in the next 4 picks. That's where the Giants could jump up ahead of the Rams to take Jackson Dart.
Yeah, and get back in. Well, if the Giants leave with Abdul Carter and a quarterback, they may have finally a pulse, and that'll be a big story. So, do you sense that the Giants want to get back into that first round?
I do, and I think their focus is Jackson Dart. From what I'm hearing around the league, Brian Daboll loves Jackson Dart, loves him. And, no team has done more work, spent more time scouting, meeting, and visiting with Shedeur Sanders than the New York Giants. The general manager, Joe Shane, has practically lived in Boulder. He's trying to convince himself that the Giants draft Sanders, trying to convince the rest of the team to take him maybe at 3. But according to the people I am talking to around the league, the Giants are still not ready to pick Sanders at 3, if at all, and that they will pick Carter at 3 and then try to jump back into the first round to maybe take Jackson Dart if they can, somewhere between 22 and 25. Because if you don't want to go too high, because then you're basically defeating the purpose of not taking Sanders at 3, right? Because you don't want to push the issue. That the fastest way to make a bad situation worse is to press the issue and reach for a quarterback.
Right. How do you feel about Jackson? How does Greg Cosell, how do your guys feel about Jackson Dart? I've heard some quarterback analysts said he's a one read and run guy. He doesn't have the strongest arm, that he's getting overdrafted. People are looking at him against the better competition. He didn't play that well. Obviously the Giants think he's moving up the board. So people think highly of him. What are you hearing?
A lot of teams have him ahead of Sanders now on their quarterback board.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
I have heard that some teams do value him higher than Shedeur Sanders. If you look at Jackson Dart's frame, 6'2", 223, runs really well, as you mentioned. All-state baseball player, so in high school, so he's a balanced athlete with he's got a sturdy frame. He plays the game confidently. 41 career starts. 38 starts of the 41 were in the SEC.
That's big.
So the competition was there. He was all SEC in 2024, So, I mean, he's, what does that frame and that size and the whole baseball player thing remind you of? It reminds you of the quarterback that Daboll had in Buffalo. I mean, that's just won the MVP. So, I could see the Giants and Brian Daboll falling in love with Jackson Dart, even though some teams have him higher and other scouting services like Our Lads, which I've used for 3 decades, project him as a 2nd to 3rd round talent. I don't. I have him as a 1st round talent.
All right. Well, this is going to be one interesting draft. Any other thoughts that we haven't hit here that you like, your storylines for this week?
Well, we've gone through pasta and football, so those are the top
tennis.
2 in that order.
Nice.
So I think where else can we go, JP? I think we're in good shape. Hope you guys had a blessed Easter, and I hope to get down there to see you soon, my brother.
Absolutely. Same here, Sal Pal. You and your family after this draft, you can get down here and see us, and we'll have a good time at Cafe Paradiso. Caesars ought to be wherever you want to go. We will do it.
Oh, no, I want to this time. I'm looking forward to Cafe Paradiso this time.
Done.
And, because it's a great spot, and I love Tampa to begin with. But if I got JP and Cafe Paradiso, that's definitely what I want on my menu.
Ding, ding, ding. All right, Sal Pal, we love you, brother. We never forget about you. I just don't want to bother you because I know how busy you are all the time. So if you want me to text you every day, I certainly can do that.
He'll do it. Watch out.
Hey, and don't forget about Greg Cosell and Darius Butler on the Matchup Show on ESPN Plus. We're the longest running NFL studio show, and I've been hosting it now for 24 years. I
Wow.
say that because, man, I'm damn proud of it. I love that show, and I love being part of it at NFL Films. And sometime I got to get you up to Jersey, and we can hang out some of my Italian spots. And you can, I'll give you a grand tour of NFL Films.
Oh, dude, I would love that.
Wow.
I would love that. Absolutely.
Say the word, and you guys come on up. Bring up the whole crew. Bring everybody up.
God.
Bring the guys up from Cafe Paradiso, Caesars, everybody.
Be careful what you wish for, my friend. We're bringing the whole crew. Thank you, partner. We'll definitely look into that. Thanks, partner. The best, right. Sal Paolantonio.
Thanks, Sal Pal.
Pazan. That's
there he goes. Wow, man. How about that?
Yeah.